Hello, Year 4. Welcome to our final lesson. Can't believe it's gone so quickly. What are we having a look at today then? Well, we are looking at threats to the rainforest today. So all we need is a pen and some paper and we can get started. Three key questions today. How are we connected to the rainforest? What is deforestation? And what are the impacts of deforestation? So that's what we're going to know all about by the time we finish this lesson. Let's just have a quick recap on yesterday's lesson. We're going to have another go at the countdown conundrum game. So rearrange the letters to make a word. Are you ready? Here comes the first clue. What type of animal is our tribe's favourite pet? What type of animal is our tribe's favourite pet? Did you get it? It was monkey. Their favourite type of animal to have as a pet was a monkey. Okay, next one. What is the word used for people who move from place to place without a fixed home? Go. What is the name of one of the animals that is deemed forbidden food by the Our tribe? So remember, we had some animals that they just wouldn't ever eat because they were seen as very important animals. What is the name of one of the animals that is deemed forbidden food? Capybara, and this is a picture of a capybara, and a really interesting creature. If you want to have a research about a capybara, they're very interesting characters. Right, that's the Our tribe all finished. Let's think about today the connections between us and the Amazon. So everything has a source. So everything we go and buy in shops and supermarkets has a source. It has a place where it starts from, the basic product that it's made from. And we are really intricately linked to the ecosystems in which those resources come from. So we have things that need a basic product from the Amazon rainforest in order to make them. And that means that there's a link. There's a link between us and the Amazon rainforest. It's not just a place that's miles away that's got nothing to do with us. We've got some really clear links to us. So let's see what those links are to start off with. So first of all, food. 80% of the world's diet originally came from the rainforests. That's a huge amount, isn't it? So many of the foods we eat every day, pineapples, potatoes, chocolate. How much chocolate have you eaten recently? Cocoa is grown in the rainforest. If it wasn't for cocoa, we would not have the chocolate. It grows coffee, there is rice, there is sweet potatoes, all that come from rainforests around the world and also from the Amazon rainforest. So we are connected by the food that we eat because some of that travels all the way from Brazil to us. Secondly, we are connected by medicines. So about a quarter of all modern medicines use plants from the rainforests, especially medicines that treat cancers. So some of the sickest people in our country are being treated with medicines that have originated from plants in the rainforest. And there are still loads and loads and loads of plants that scientists have yet to really study. So we could find out that there are a lot more medicines that could come from the rainforest in the future. We are also connected by the raw product of wood. So we talked a little bit about logging yesterday, didn't we, and cutting down trees, and some of the uses that they make for those trees have a direct impact on our country because they send furniture to us. The wood is used for buildings. It's used to make paper products like toilet rolls and things. So again, another link between us and the rainforest. Also, the rainforest has a link to the whole world because the plants of the rainforest provide 20% of the Earth's oxygen that we need to survive. So you can see the Amazon rainforest isn't just a place miles away that doesn't concern us because we have huge numbers of connections to it. But we talked yesterday about the fact that the rainforest tribes were in danger and the rainforest itself are in danger. So here's a picture of a football pitch. Try and imagine a football pitch now. Maybe you've got a football pitch on your field at school. How many football pitch-sized pieces of rainforest do you think are destroyed in one day? So a football pitch is pretty big, isn't it? How much of the rainforest in those football pitch sizes do you think is destroyed in one day? Have a guess now. What do you think? Well, let's see, shall we? Every second of the day, an area of rainforest about the size of a football pitch is destroyed. So every second of the day, one of those football pitches goes, and another one's gone, and another one's gone, and another one's gone. And by the end of a day, 86,400, roughly, football pitches have been destroyed. That is a vast area. So that is really worrying, isn't it? Considering we've just talked about how we are connected to that rainforest. So we've already thought about things like the plants and the animals in the rainforest and the tribes in the rainforest. They are all going to be in danger if this destruction of the rainforest continues. But what is deforestation and how are these rainforests destroyed? So we're going to have a little look now at a video produced by Chester Zoo. Chester Zoo run days where the schools can visit and find out all about rainforests because they have lots of animals in their zoo that originate from the rainforest. And they have produced this video all about what is deforestation. I thought it was a really simple way of explaining deforestation. So let's have a listen to that now.
Deforestation is when people chop down trees. Now, it becomes a big problem because if you're chopping down trees, that means animals that used to live in those trees no longer have a home. They also don't have food as well, because if they used to eat the fruit and the leaves from those trees, well, you've just taken them away.
Deforestation has been a big problem on the coast of Ecuador because a lot of the forest has been chopped down so that people can plant things like bananas and things like cocoa, because bananas and cocoa are very good to sell, so it's a good way for people to make money. But unfortunately that means that the rainforest is no longer there for the animals to live in. Some parrots also need mangrove forests, which we find down the coast, and most of the mangroves in Ecuador have been chopped down and flooded with water to make shrimp farms, because again, shrimps are something that you can sell for a lot of money and people all around the world like to eat them.
At the edge of the rainforest, people have chopped the forest down for cattle, so that cattle can eat the grass. What actually happens is, when they cut the forest down and they have a dry season there, it doesn't rain for about 2 or 3 months. In the forest, where you've got the canopy, the forest stays quite wet, so all the trees and everything survive. But outside, where they cut the forest down, and then they burn the grass, and then the cattle graze the new grass, the ground becomes so hard and so compacted, the trees can't grow back. And the difference is staggering. The forest is very lush and full of life. And then on the outside, it's burnt, it's hard, very few things can live there, and then that has a big impact for everybody. Where there's no forest, then the rainforest isn't collecting as much water, almost like a big sponge, which then trickles down and runs into all the rivers. So as the people are cutting the forest down, not only are we losing the animals, but they're losing water downstream in the rivers, and also we're starting to affect the amount of oxygen which is going back into the atmosphere from the trees. So deforestation is a huge problem for everybody in the world, and it's something that we need to try and stop as best that we can.
Okay, so you can see, can't you, that it is really important that we think about deforestation because it affects everybody. And they were giving you examples there of deforestation all across the world in all different rainforests, but it is a really, really big problem in the Amazon rainforest. So what are we going to do about this? So you can see here, the Amazon rainforest being destroyed for its wood. That's called logging, where they chop down whole trees and use the logs for building materials. So this is a diagram that shows you all of the impacts or the consequences of deforestation, of chopping down those trees, whether it's chopping down trees for the wood, whether it's chopping down trees just to clear the ground for farming, whether it's chopping down those trees to clear the way for developments like buildings and roads, or whether it's clearing those forests for other reasons. And you can see there are some huge impacts, some which we've already thought about. So we talked a lot about the animals and plants in the rainforest. If the rainforest is destroyed, they are not going to exist anymore. And you saw that diagram of those animals gradually disappearing, didn't you? So as soon as you lose that there, you lose their food, then the animals start to die. As soon as those animals start to die, the animals that eat them start to die, and the animals and plants really lose out. We've got those poor indigenous people who live there, who are going to no longer have a home. So we need to think about that. The man in the video was talking about the water cycle, wasn't he? And saying that trees help return water vapor into the atmosphere. So that's going to be a problem. Carbon emissions are going to be a huge problem. So carbon is a gas that's let off when trees are chopped down, and it releases into the air, and it contributes to climate change. So climate change is going to be a huge problem the more these rainforests are being destroyed. If these rainforests are destroyed, we can't use the plants for medicines. So there's a whole heap of impacts that deforestation of the rainforest has on everybody, not just the people in the rainforest. So what I want you to think about today is which one of these things is the most important impact that deforestation has. So what I'd like you to do is rearrange the statements I'm going to give you to create a diamond with the thing that you think is the most important at the top, and then the next two things that are quite important, then the next three things that you think are important, all the way down to the thing that's the least important. And when you have done that, I want you to explain why you placed the one that is right at the top in that position. Why did you think that was the most important impact of deforestation? So let's have a look at the statements, and then you're going to arrange them into that diamond line. So what you might want to do is write each statement on a little square of paper first, and then you can stick them on your piece of paper or in your book in that diamond shape. So remember, you've got 1, then 2, then 3, then 2, then 1. So it creates a nice diamond shape. Most important at the top, least important at the bottom. So these are the impacts of deforestation that I want you to think about, the 9 key impacts that I want you to put in order from most important to least important. So we've got local people's way of life is being destroyed, the soil becomes dry and crops cannot grow, people have to move from the rainforest to the city. So imagine those poor uncontacted tribes having to move into the city when all they've ever done is live in a rainforest. There are fewer species of animal and plants. There is more carbon dioxide released into the atmosphere. New medicines might not be discovered from plants. The animal's habitat is destroyed. Plants cannot grow anymore, and trees can't store carbon in their trunks and roots. So, can you put those in order for me, from the most important to the least important? And then, when you've done that, explain to me why you put the one at the top, right at the top, as the most important. What was it about that that you felt was the most important thing? So press pause, go and get started, and come back to me when you've managed to do that, please. Okay, how did you get on? Did you manage to put them in order? Did you take ages to decide which one? It was really tricky, wasn't it? It doesn't matter what order you put them in. Whichever order you decide is the right order is correct. There is no right and wrong answer to this. It's whatever you feel personally is the most important impact of deforestation. The important thing is, have you explained why you put one on the top? So if you put The loss of medicines at the top. Have you explained why that is an issue? Because actually people will die as a result of not getting the medicines that they need. If you are an animal lover, you might want to put animals' lives at the top and say that that was vitally important, because it is really important that we continue to have animal life cycles, and we continue to have the food chain for all the animals to survive. Whatever you have chosen, as long as you've given a good reason why you've put that at the top, you have done brilliantly. Right, not much more to go now. The final thing I want to do with you is just to share a really nice video that I have from the Rainforest Alliance. So if deforestation is happening, what is going to be the end result, and what can we do about it is what we're thinking about now. So let's have a look.
Once upon a time, the Amazon was a thriving forest that hummed with life. It produced 20% of Earth's oxygen, and 1/5 of the world's fresh water flowed through it. More than half of the world's animal species thrived in its abundance. In those days, the Amazon worked with all the other forests on Earth to regulate the global climate, balance the ocean currents and wind patterns, make sure the rains came year after year, and purify the streams and rivers from which we all drank. Not only did the forest provide livelihoods to hundreds of millions of people, men, women, and children from every part of the world were healed by their plants. But humans took the generosity of forests for granted. They slashed and burned to make way for more crops. They chopped down trees without knowing how long it would take for them to grow back, or understanding how their absence would impact the planet. They destroyed forest land the size of Panama every year. Countless species disappeared completely in what scientists now call the Earth's 6th mass extinction. The thousands of people who live in and near the Amazon cannot live without the forest, and neither can the rest of us. Join us in our efforts to rebalance the Earth so that we can all live healthily and happily ever after.
Okay, so if we want a happily ever after, we have to make sure it happens. So the final challenge for you is to think about how you can help. What can you do that will make a difference to those rainforests? What can you do to ensure that the Amazon does have a happily ever after? So I'd like you to have a look, have a search around. What can you do? It might be that you want to adopt an animal. It might be that you just want to change some of the products you use at home. But it's that your generation, people like you, who are going to make the difference. If nothing changes, scientists and geographers are estimating that there will be no rainforest left in the entire world within 100 years. So something has to change, doesn't it? What is it that you're going to do? I hope this unit of work has inspired you to do something. Well done for completing the unit. And I hope that you're going to get back to school soon, or I'm sure if not, your teacher has got some more work for you to do. And I'm sure you can explore some of those websites we've looked at. Maybe you can have a look at the Rainforest Alliance website and see exactly what you can do if you've got some time on your hands. So enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope you've enjoyed the unit on the rainforest. Goodbye for now.